You've got ideas, you've got ambition, you've got no time, or so you think. I'm Marissa Lonick, and I help busy moms with big dreams and no time. Join me each week as I dive into time management strategies, goal setting and achieving framework, and inspiring guests who are juggling mom life, work life, fill in the blank life. Dreams don't work unless you do, and just because you're a mom doesn't mean you can't still make it happen, whatever it means to you. Welcome to the Mama Work It podcast. Hey, mamas. Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Mama Work It podcast. So glad to be here and so glad you're here, taking time out of your busy schedule to listen. In case you're new in town, I'm your host, Marissa Lonick, working mom of four and founder of Mama Work It, where we support women in the juggle of work life, mom life, wife life, fill in the blank life. I am so thrilled to introduce you to our very special guest today, Eva Kasycki. Eva is tuning in all the way from Bali, and she is a quantum wealth coach, the managing director of the Foreva Group, and the host of the Vibration of Wealth podcast. Eva is a beloved teacher and facilitator, in addition to supporting established entrepreneurs in hundreds of breakthrough sessions. She has led hundreds of workshops, trainings, and group circles over the past 15 plus years. She's also a mom of three, a human design projector, me too, super excited to chat a little bit about that, and currently, like I said, living her best life in Bali. I cannot wait to talk more with you, Eva, about all things quantum leaping and money making. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for having me. I am so excited. It's like all my favorite things in the blend of one. So I'm so excited to go deep and just create some magic, really create magic, and those breakthrough aha moments for all of your listeners that can just go, oh my gosh, wow, I can see that differently. And now everything gets to change right now in this second. So yeah.
I love that. I can't wait for those moments either. All right. Before we dive into them, Eva, tell us more just about you and your journey and what got you here.
So I'm like, well, which part? Because it's so funny. We've got so many, like, I feel like if I'm to go back through my entire life, it's broken down into this ginormous novel with so many chapters and so many different sections and facets and nooks and crannies. And I guess I'll just give you the fast, speeded up version. I was born in Brisbane, Australia. I believe our soul chooses our parents. You can believe whatever you desire, but that's the camp that I'm in. And I feel like our soul chooses people in our lives so we can learn lessons and we can evolve. So my parents were probably the worst of the bunch compared to, life and this happy home. It was a lot of deep lessons and a little bit like an arrow. You've got to kind of pull the arrow all the way back into the darkness to projectile launch into the light. So I started with a home that looked so beautiful on the outside. We had everything that life could possibly give you, the over $1 million home, wealthy grandparents, beautiful aunts and uncles. Everything looked the part. But it was quite a disturbing household to grow up in, a lot of physical, mental, emotional abuse. At the age of 13, my father took his life. And then at the age of 15, I moved out of home. And then I sort of went through this really long period of depression for about 4 or 5 years, but it really subconsciously lasted for a good 3 decades. But I navigated my way through it. And I always had this kind of seed inside of me that was like, you're going to make it through, you're going to get through. And in my mind, I was like, I'm not going to have kids until I'm like 35, 40, and I've got this big business and all these things work out. And let's face it, the universe never gives you the things that you desire. It gives you the lessons that you need to become the best version of yourself. So here I was, 23, pregnant. Thank goodness it was with my ex-husband now, who we're very, very good friends. I always say I have the most successful divorce on the planet. But obviously when we are programmed from a young age and we go through a lot of things, which I'm sure you've already spoken about a lot on this podcast, where, the ages to 0 to 7 are so important, so primal with all of the information that we receive and how we interpret that and pretty much creating the blueprint for the rest of our life. So my blueprint was really survival, get out of this home, just survive, just survive. So I wasn't programmed for thriving. So here I am, first child. And I started business because I really wanted to be a mum that was able to have time with her kids, that was able to not have to do this 9 to 5 juggle thing where I was going to miss all of their things. So I had my first one at just turned 24, and that was quite a lot of old patterns and programs, just being my mum again, regurgitating it, yelling like my mum would yell, all the things just coming up unconsciously. And then I had my second at 27, and then I had my third just at 30. And that in itself was a whole nother crazy chapter of evolution and growing and evolving and navigating marriage. And I had 3 businesses at the time and an office and staff and juggling all these things as a human design projector, which is crazy because we're not generators. We're not meant to be doing all the things and hustling and pushing. And I was doing all the things because I was so broken on the inside. I just needed to love myself. And I thought if I did so many things, I would get love from society. And I did. I had all these accolades. We had everything in my childhood. We had the over $1 million home. We had all the money. We had this beautiful life that looked great on the outside. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky. You've got this beautiful office and team and you're living your dream life. And I was on all these podcasts, but I felt so broken on the inside. And I was like, I'm not happy with my marriage and I can't pinpoint why. I feel empty and nothing feels like it's working, even though it appears to be working. And so I sort of went through another massive revelation and everything kind of broke down. I went through this huge period where I left my husband. I went broke. I got rid of 2 of my businesses. Like I just went through this whole, it was so painful, but really, really beautiful evolution. And through the breaking down to breakthrough, I was able to see, and my intuition just constantly kept nudging me. It was like Bali, 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 Bali. And then all of a sudden, within a very, very short space of time, we sold everything in Australia, moved to Bali, relaunched a coaching business, which I'd taken 2 years off from because I was just like, I don't know what to do. When you're so lost in your life that you're like, I just need to stop everything because nothing feels like it's working. So I went in and did the hardest work, which is all the inner work. And I sat in my darkness and cried and howled and meditated and just did all the things and recreated this new reality. And I was like, what if nothing mattered and I just had everything that I desired? And I was like, what brings me the most joy? Well, that's living like I'm on a 24/7 holiday. Well, where can I do that? And I was like, okay, cool. Let's move to Bali. Let's do that. And within a short period of time, being a human design projector, it's waiting for the invitation. It was like all the clients just found me. I didn't even want to do programs. The coach found me, the clients found me, and everyone was just like, it just exploded. And it brings me so much joy and so much bliss being able to serve so many people. But I think the most important thing to me beyond absolutely anything in this world is my peace, is my love for myself, is my calmness. And living in Bali, just coming up to 2 years now, I've never in my life found so much self-love. Like I literally just kiss myself and love myself. And through so much deep love for myself, it's created this whole new relationship with my kids. It's created this whole new paradigm with my children where it's no longer hard. It's no longer stressful. It's no longer this task that I have to do and constantly feels like effort. It feels effortless. I get to play with my kids. I dance with them. And I've created a life that it may not be for everyone else. We do week on, week off with my ex-husband, but we're really good friends, so we can see the kids whenever we desire. I have a driver that takes them to school every day, so I'm not stressed because in Australia, I'd take them to 3 different schools every single morning. They'd be screaming, they'd be kicking. I was just like, this is not protecting my energy. This isn't looking, the way I desire. And the best thing about having a driver here in Bali is that when they come home, I'm present. I've got the whole table set for their afternoon tea. Like I'm here, I'm present. I have a full work day, but I start a little bit earlier. But the funny thing is when I say work, I don't really work very hard at all. I went to the beach yesterday and read a masterclass and just, I enjoy life. I really feel like I'm retired and I get paid for being retired and I just get to do what I love. And I feel that we all have gifts on this planet, things that were just given to us that are effortless. And for me, it's speaking. It's so effortless. Put me in front of a camera or a podcast or anything. I just speak and it doesn't feel stressful. It doesn't feel scary. It just flows beautifully and it brings me joy. Those you would know being a projector as well, like the things that just give you more energy. And so you just get more enjoyment from it. So right now I help people tap into limitless wealth, because life is limitless, but we've lost our ability to see how much of everything there is. You know, when I teach wealth consciousness, it goes so far beyond the money, it's not even funny. Like we think that money is this limitation. We can't do things without the money. But wealth consciousness is like, no, like you desire to go on a private jet, you can manifest that tomorrow. You desire to go to this castle, yeah, you can win free tickets to that. Like there's so many limitless ways to have everything that you desire and more. But we've lost the art of being able to create and manifest and jump timelines and quantum leap, because we're so limited in the past versions of ourselves and in the fabric of society that we have to have money to do the thing, but you just have to be alive to experience everything that you fully desire. So yeah, that's what I teach. And I got into it through the pain of 15 years in a relationship that I really didn't desire, and constantly knowing that there was more, but not having any role models or leaders to show me where to go. Like I don't know anybody in my life that moved with an ex-husband and 3 kids to Bali to start a new life. So I've had to be the 4-minute mile for myself and my life constantly, again and again and again. And I think when you can do things and embody things that are not shown to you in the 3D world, it's terrifying, it's scary, but it's so much more rewarding, because you know that you're onto something great. And yeah, this world's just full of 24/7 miracles. So that's the life I live, just waking up like a kid at Christmas time, excited to see the miracles and receive them, and just really relish in the joy of life. And sometimes the miracles are just seeing the clouds smile at you, but it's a miracle.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What an amazing story, first and foremost. Secondly, I just have to know, like, I've got this nudge, this curiosity. Why Bali specifically? Is that a place you had been that you had fallen in love with? Or was it just something that had come to you like through a meditation? Like there was clarity there with just this place? I mean, I know I've seen like words or places when I've meditated, and then I'm like, oh, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me right now, but maybe it will one day. So I'm curious, why specifically that place?
Yeah, I love that question. So it's funny because when I was 30, I went to Bali for my 30th, and I'd only had 2 kids at the time. And I didn't like Bali at all. Like I actually hated it. It was rubbish everywhere. It stunk really badly. It wasn't the right version of me for the place at the time. My marriage was falling apart. I was really unhappy. I was just going through all these things. And so it was funny because as COVID hit, I had to go deep within me and change the version of myself that I was currently being. And then as I evolved through the pain and the trauma and all the things that hit me, I started to just get these little whispers. I'm very like clair all the things, clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, claircognizant. But it was just like little whispers all the time. And I had this conversation with my ex-husband, and he's like, why don't we think about places overseas? And we kind of went through all the places. And then when he said Bali, it was just like this clairsentience, you know, when it's like really, really strong. You're just like, oh my gosh, like you can't ignore it. It was very, very intense. And then I just started to feel like I was being pulled to this place, and it didn't matter what past version of me associated to that place. You know, when your soul is pulling you, you just have to lean in. And in my mind, I was like, well, anything's better than Australia right now, because it was crazy during COVID, so many lockdowns and all the things. And I was so ready. You know, when you go through so much darkness, you're just ready for this change. Like you're ready for a massive shift. And it was calling me. Bali was seriously calling me. It was like, and I feel like Bali calls a lot of people. They say that Bali is like the heart chakra of the world. You know, there's these ley lines, like tectonic plates in all the places in the world. And in Bali, it's so special. Like as soon as I arrived in Bali, my psychic abilities just went through the roof. Like I was literally speaking to spirits of villas, and I was like, whoa, like it was crazy. It was like, this is going to happen. And then it happened. This is going to happen. Then it happened. One villa I stayed at, because we obviously stayed at a fair few Airbnbs before we both found our long-term villas. And one place was like this old grandma. I felt like I was Pocahontas, you know, communicating with all the trees and the spirits. And I could feel the energy of her feeling like she was going to die. And then within like the next 3 days, the whole like roof just like caved in, like it was crazy. There were just so many synchronicities and beautiful things. And there's something really special about, and you would notice this, if you travel a lot, different countries have different lessons. It's kind of like we're in this earth school and every country has different energies and different abilities to learn different things from it. And I've worked with readers that do all those astral lines and your grid lines and things like that. And they're like, ever in this country, you're going to lose money. In this country, this is going to happen. And I try not to like get attached to the story, but then I go there, I'm like, oh my gosh, they were right. Because energy is energy is energy is energy. So yeah, it was a calling and a knowing. And sometimes, and in my life, I've been very logical. I've constantly made jumps in my life where they made no sense. Like at 15, I left home, made no sense. Everyone thought I was crazy. When I left my marriage, everyone thought I was crazy. When I moved to Bali, everyone thought I was crazy. But there's something in me that's just constantly guided me. And I know that it's gotten me this far. And I look at where I started from the little broken child that never had love to the woman right now that is so happy. Like just every day is like a miracle. And it makes me like tear up because it's just like, how did I get this lucky, you know? But it was just trusting that inner voice that made no sense whatsoever. And when we're talking about quantum leaping, it is illogical. It's never going to make sense to your mind. It's not meant to. Your mind's job is to keep you safe. Quantum leaping's scary. So if you desire quantum leaps, you have to be okay to be uncomfortable and be scared.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little more, because maybe for some of our listeners, they don't even know what quantum leaping is. This is the first time they're hearing it. So what is it in a nutshell, and how is it related to making money?
So look, there's so many ways to explain this, and I will just sit in the easiest way to comprehend it. I think that the thing about the world that we live in is that there's a lot of different universal laws, and the laws are shown very, very clearly to us with plants and wildlife and animals. You know, we look at trends and things like that in this 3D reality, like the bear will gather all of its food and then hibernate. The tree, the seed is planted and then it grows, and then you take the harvest and you bring it in. When it comes to quantum leaping, what we're really playing with and looking at is that we're actually playing with different dimensions and different versions of this 3D reality. And this is where it can get a little bit confusing. And I always say to my clients, use discernment. See how this feels for you. I'm not here to take away your power. I'm not here to force feed you a belief system that you may not feel comfortable yet receiving. So when we're looking at quantum physics and life, what we have to understand is that our souls are limitless. Our minds are very limited. If you're looking at a football field, this is like the quantum field. This is like your life. Everything in the entire universe exists right now on this quantum field. But because we are very limited with our senses and our being, it's like we can only see a little slither of the quantum field. We're only focused on what's right in front of you. Like right now, if there was somebody, and this is a weird analogy, but there was somebody dying behind me, I cannot see them dying. So it's not part of my reality. It's not part of my reality at all. This is what I'm looking at. This slither is part of my reality. And so quantum leaping is really the ability to switch this tiny little slither of perception to a different event, to a different place on the quantum field that shows you the things that you desire. So if right now you're looking at this slither of the quantum field that you don't have the money that you desire or the life that you desire, it's the ability to expand your consciousness so that you can see the events that you desire. And so there's so many different ways of explaining this. And what we really have to understand, this is what we can get a little bit trippy, if we're looking at it from a soul and a human perspective, we give the 3D reality so much power. And that's why we get stuck when it comes to manifestation. If we're souls having a human experience, when we're souls, we just bob up and down in the cloud. We can go anywhere. We can explore anything. We can do all these beautiful things. Our mind gives us the ability and the power to do that. We close our eyes and we see $1 million. We're already there. We're already at that event on the quantum field. But what we have been conditioned to do is see the 3D reality as more important and more substantial than our thoughts. We're being conditioned that if we think too much, if we play too much like we do as kids, we're delusional. That's just not real. That's in your imagination. But in order to quantum leap, and this is a really powerful law of assumption, which I absolutely love, which is, you can Google it, it's Neville Goddard created it. And if you can see it in your mind, it's already manifested. It's already real. It's a reality. It's already done. So when the 3D appears, the 3D is a shadow. The 3D is often the old reality from your thoughts and your feelings. And we get stuck between the same place on the quantum field because we're giving so much attention to the reality that we're currently seeing instead of going into our minds and going, oh, I'm already a millionaire. It already exists because I can see it, because I can pull it up. In our imaginations, we are limitless because we can close our eyes. We can go to Maldives. We can go to Moscow. We can make $1 million. We can be on stage. We can be everywhere that we fully desire in our mind. That is our true self. That is our limitless nature. That's who we came here to be. We came here to play and allow quantum particles to manipulate so that we can see that reality. The 3D is really just this test so that we can view who we're being, because who we're being is what we're seeing. But when it comes to quantum leaping and we're trying to move from this slither of reality on the quantum field to this slither, we have to understand that we are truly limitless. And the reality that we're seeing is just completely and utterly an illusion of who we're being internally. So I hope that makes sense and I haven't lost any of you. It can get quite trippy. There's many different universal laws to see, but if there's one thing to really know, it's that 99.99999999999 infinity % of this reality is empty space. It appears solid because the energy is moving so fast. The only reason the energy moves fast is because we are having the same thoughts and feelings every single day, all the time, and we're creating the energy to move really, really hard and fast. So when we can focus on being a different energy and embodying different thoughts and receiving different thoughts and feeling a new way, then we can quantum leap into a new reality, into a new way of being. So they say quantum leaping, quantum jumping, all it really means is that you're going from this part of the football field to that part of the football field, but it already exists all now. Time is an illusion time doesn't exist in the quantum field. Everything's happening right now. We see time in the 3D because the reality is moving so slowly. So if you're getting stuck in your reality and you're like, I'm doing all the work, I'm being so abundant and feeling so great, but my reality is not changing, just remember that 3D is very dense. It's slow. Your reality right now is old news. It's who you were, a little bit ago. So you have to give the reality time to shift and change without creating a story. If you look at your reality and you go, oh, this isn't what I want, well, that isn't what you want. It stays stuck. It stays stagnant. But if you desire a new reality, it's all working out for me. Everything's coming for me. It's easy. It's effortless. Everything just works out for me. And you're just moving to different events and time spaces of the same quantum field.
All right. That's a lot to digest, but it does make sense. It does.
I know. And I hope it does. I hope it does. Land. And you know what, for some people that are listening to that for the first time, you may need to rewind it, listen to it again, or you may need to just, as I said earlier, allow the seed to be planted. And if you didn't understand a word of it, know that your subconscious is receiving it. And it's happened to me many times in my life where I'll sit in rooms and it will make no sense whatsoever, but it plants the seed. And then in 5 years' time, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know what that crazy lady was on about.
Well, and also I feel like this serves, if this is something new for you, this serves as a really great introduction, like a baseline for you to, if this is intriguing to you, if this is fascinating, if this is really piquing your interest, to go look into it more, to contact Eva after this episode and get a little bit more in depth about what this is all about. We have these 30-minute podcast episodes because we know mamas are busy and we want to give you all the deets we can in that short amount of time. But there's more to this, obviously, that we just don't have the capacity to go into during this conversation. So if this is piquing your interest, there's lots more to learn and Eva can help you there. Eva, I'm really curious. What do you think, based on what you said, I think I have an idea of what the answer will be, but I'm going to ask you, the expert here. What do you think holds most people back from making more money, from getting rich?
Look, there's so many pieces to this. And when my clients come to work with me, obviously it's all the childhood stuff. It's all the 0 to 7. It's the program that you've really been programmed with from a young age. It's all the things that have been passed down through generations, like money doesn't grow on, but let's face it, trees make paper and money's paper, so money does grow on trees. All the tiny little things where you would have asked mommy or daddy for an ice cream. They're like, what do you think we are made of? And so we've got this story in our society where money is the biggest blocker, the biggest limitation. And a lot of the work I do with my clients is just make them realize that money's energy and that energy's everywhere. And all you need to do is breathe in air, and air is readily available. So if you can have the same relationship you have with money with air, you're limitless. But the reason many people get stuck is it's simple to what I was speaking about earlier, where we look at our reality and we think that that's all there is. We block ourselves. It's almost like being in a jail cell in this loop of our reality. We look at our reality and go, oh, I can't have XYZ because I don't have the abundance in my bank account. Instead of going, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for more to come. Oh my goodness, like look how grateful I am. Like it's just energy. But if we have a positive and negative relationship with money where we go to buy something and we feel like we're losing money, instead of like, yes, there's so much more where that came from. Oh my goodness. Like most of us have this toxic relationship with money. If we traded the relationship that we have with money with a best friend, they wouldn't be friends with us because it's so immature. It's like a toddler. It's like, oh, you didn't give me money today, or oh, you're not supporting me. Like we're constantly in this loop of I don't have enough, instead of letting go of the 3D reality and coming into our real selves and closing our eyes and realizing that we're limitless. Anything that we see in our mind, we can hold in our hand. If you can visualize having more money, it's already done in the 3D reality. But if you see the 3D reality and it's not to your liking, well, you lock it in. What resists persists. And so the fastest thing that you can start doing with money is falling in love with it, just being grateful for it. When you start spending money, and if you're stuck here, and a lot of us are, and I've had years where I felt so much anxiety around money, like next level anxiety around money. But if you can just go to a coffee shop and it might be your last dollar left, and you look at the lady or the man that is serving you coffee, maybe they've got a smile on their face, maybe they're grumpy, it doesn't matter, but just be grateful that you're contributing to their life and you're helping them and you're feeling the blessing, because again, the universal laws are like nature. Look at the ocean. Imagine that the ocean is money. The waves come in, the waves go out, the waves come in, the waves go out. There's always going to be ebb and flow. There's always going to be this beautiful ebb and flow, but there's the entire ocean. Look how much abundance there is. You cannot say that you're in lack. So if we're going deep and philosophical, most people have an interesting relationship with money because they're not in alignment with the universal laws of this world. They are trying to hold on and hoard instead of surrender and let the waves go out. Let the waves come in. Let the waves go out. Let the waves come in, and create a money blueprint that serves them really, really well, really, really effortlessly, that serves their highest good, that serves the planet, that isn't about hoarding, which is just like trusting that everything's working out for them and they're always going to have enough no matter what.
Yeah, I love that analogy. I was just at a business conference recently, and the speaker said, "What's another word for money?" And the answer was currency. And then from there, he said, "And when you think of currency, you think of a current, right? Just like you said, the water flowing, the waves coming in, the tide going out, all of that. Like money is energy. It does need to move. And that is really important. And I think it's something we don't learn. We don't learn it growing up. We actually learn the opposite. We learn, the kind of the hoarder status mentality when it comes to money. And it can definitely, I think, be harmful right down the line.
100%, 100%. And when we're hoarding money, what we're really doing is being in lack. We're hoarding it because we think we don't have enough. We're hoarding it because we think that there's no more coming. And so our reality just mirrors back who we're being. So when we're hoarding money, we're in lack. So the reality shows back lack. It's just a mirror. And so that's why we're constantly in these endless cycles, because we're like, oh, I'm not going to have more, instead of I trust more is coming. More always comes to me. Everything always works out for me. There's an entire quantum field of limitless opportunities. Of course, I can tap into any of those realities at any given time.
Yeah. All right. So someone listening, this is like fascinating, intriguing to them. They're like, okay, I want to get rid of this money story, this money mentality that I have, out of this scarcity mindset. How can someone who doesn't know much about quantum leaping at all, like first they're hearing about it or just really new to the game, how do they get started?
So the first thing when it comes to your money is awareness. It is awareness, like who you're being is what you're seeing. So every single day when you have to interact with money, you want the energy to be good. Just like you're seeing your mom or your kids, you don't want to see your kids and not be in a good energy around them, because you're affecting them, you're hurting them, you're making them sad. And so you want to prioritize your relationship with money, whereas every time you come into contact with it, paying a bill, receiving money, going to a restaurant with friends, paying anything, you always want to feel like you're in a good energy around money. And so if you're struggling to be in a good energy around money, it's going to struggle to come back to you. And so if you are experiencing feelings of anxiety, overwhelm, stress, the best thing to do is actually not move from that situation. Don't try to bypass it. Don't try to, go and do something and just suppress it more, because what we resist persists. You sit with it. Allow it to come up. Be like, cool, you're coming up to clear because I've set this big goal. So everything that's not in alignment with this big goal has to come up to clear. There's so many ways you can get rid of anxiety. I feel like first and foremost, really, really quickly, the only thing that can make you happy is a happy thought. The only thing that can make you sad is a sad thought. So if you're having painful feelings coming up, it's just because you've got subconscious sad thoughts rolling through. And so there's a few things you can do. You can close your eyes and you can envision all this money flowing through like crazy. Really powerful to actually envision your area or your bedroom or your living room and just all the money piling up there, because your mind has spatial recognition of the areas that you live in. So that's a fast way to manifest. Or breath work is so powerful. And I have clients that are like, Eva, I can't breathe. I'm like, literally breathe in, hold it for a million seconds until you go blue, and then let it out. And just keep doing that until the anxiety goes away. And make a conscious decision today that you are never, ever, ever going to be around money again in this shitty low vibration, because that's not you. That's your parents' stuff or your grandparents' stuff. It's someone else's crap. You don't need to keep passing it down ancestrally. You don't need to pass it to your kids. It ends at you. So don't ever, 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 just like anything, would you leave a healthy relationship with somebody in a bad mood, huffing and puffing, feeling like shit? No, you'd heal that. You'd sort that out. So make sure that you never leave an interaction with money unhealed. You stay there until you release it, and then you keep doing it, because you want to show your body, the unconscious mind, that when you're faced with that event, you don't feel that way anymore, because it's the feeling that's manifesting the reality.
Yeah, so good. And love the fact that you're saying, like, feel the feels. Don't try to be like, oh, I'm not feeling this and kind of mask it with something else, like that toxic positivity bullshit. Feel it,
Yes.
Work through it, breathe through it, whatever that's going to take, and then move forward into this other space. So great tips, great tangible action steps. I love that. We're going to switch gears now, though, and we're going to just ask you some random personal questions. Are you ready?
Yes, go for gold.
All right, let's do it. Eva, what is your go-to, like, get it done song?
Oh my gosh, you know what song is on my play? And it changes, it does change, but right now it's Right on Time. You know that song's like, gotta get up, gotta get up, gotta get up, whoa. It's like really that oh dun 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 dun, walk right in. Just, I'm gonna have to write it in the comments below.
It's I don't know this song, but I'm also not that cool, so it's probably me.
No, it's a really, really, really old song, but it's like really doof. Like, just, it's like, okay, gotta get up, gotta get up.
This could also be a cultural difference here, why I don't know this song.
It's definitely an American song. Definitely.
Oh, well, there you go. That's not an excuse for me then. Okay.
It would have been huge in the 90s or 80s or 90s, but it just came up one day. And I have like a Raise Your Vibration playlist, but it's like one of those songs where if you were lying down, you'd have to get up. Like it's like really like,
it's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pump you up kind of jam. Okay.
Yeah, but
Love it.
that's it right now. But it changes often. And side note, I don't listen to songs with words. I prefer to listen to music that doesn't have words because I know how susceptible our subconscious is. But that's a good song.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Do you have a guilty pleasure TV show?
So I get like over the years, I guess I've always loved Friends. Friends is just like an all-time favorite for everyone. I don't really watch too much TV these days being in Bali. Like I'm always on my scooter out on the beach or doing something beautiful. But if I was like really, really, really sick and the universe was just like, you cannot do anything but lie on the couch, I'd probably just watch Friends because that is just always funny and I love laughing. Like I don't think I'd get to where I am if I didn't have humor and laughter and all the things. So Friends.
Love it. Yeah. Laughter's such medicine. I believe it. All right. What if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life? What would it be? Calories don't count.
Oh my gosh. One food for the rest of my life. Goodness. Probably eggs, just because I've become so like conscious of everything that goes into my body lately. Like, you know, being a projector, how sensitive we are. Like, it's like you really got to have food that just keeps eggs or bananas. It's so boring. Like, if you asked me 10 years ago, I'd be like ice cream or chocolate. But now I'm just like, oh, I'd feel sick if I had sugar every day. I'm like, I need protein or broccoli.
Yeah.
So boring.
Give me the spinach and kale. I'm good.
I know. I'm like, well, if the food could be a smoothie, I'd probably say smoothie if I could change the ingredients. So that's kind of cheating.
Whatever you choose is okay. Anything goes on this show. We don't have rules like that. All right. Last question. What if you could have any superpower out there? You've got so many already, but what if you could have any superpower that you don't already possess? What would it be?
Oh, flying for sure. Like I always feel like I'm flying high, but like the ability to actually fly right now. I'm like, I believe it's in human consciousness. It's going to manifest on this planet soon, but like literally just being able to think of it and then just up we go. That would be everything to me.
Eva, do you know that is the most popular answer on this show?
I love it. It's, you know what? It's think about everything we do as humans. It's just to feel better. Like everything we do is to feel better. And so flying, like the ability to just be high and it feel effortless and nothing matters. Like I look at the birds and I'm like, one day I don't realize how good they've got it.
You got a quantum leap there.
Oh my gosh. It's so happening. I believe they're already designing things for it to happen. It's just more the ability to think it and then, you know, actually have it. And I believe everything, like the highest level of manifestation is like Jesus turning water into wine. You know, it's that ability to think it and then it's just there. It just exists. So yeah, it's going to happen. Like maybe in our lifetime, maybe not, but there will be a point where humans just think to fly and they will, because just quantum particles moving. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, on that note, Eva, please tell our listeners where they can find you, where they can learn more about all the amazing things you teach, about quantum leaping, about money management. Let us know.
Amazing. So if you really want to learn a lot about this, I have a free Facebook group, the 888 Wealth Code. So that's amazing. I do daily lives, meditations, things like that to just help you on this journey. Instagram's always fun. It's eva.kasycki.official if you want to see my crazy Bali life, how I live, just going to beaches. And I do travel a lot, so you'll see me at the airport a lot, but I just love life. So that's a really cool place. Also do TikTok as well, Eva Kasycki. But wherever you hang out, just come and find me. I'm just so honored and grateful to be here, and enjoy following me in my crazy life and 3 kids and living limitlessly and out of the norm of how life should be.
Awesome. Well, Eva, thank you so much for being here, for sharing all your wisdom and knowledge, and for teaching us all about quantum leaping.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been such an honor, Marissa. And I can't wait to have you on the show soon as well.
You've been listening to the Mama Work It podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. and would love if you could take a quick minute to leave me a review on whichever platform you're listening from, and maybe even send a note to a fellow mama friend recommending it. Reviews and recs help this podcast grow and reach more like-minded, awesome moms. And if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click that button so we can stay in touch, girl. By the way, if you haven't checked out the Mama Work It website, please do. There are lots of free resources and great articles there that can help you with the juggle of work life, mom life, wife life, fill in the blank life. So head on over. Thanks again for being part of the tribe. I'll see you soon, but in the meantime, keep on working it, mama.